So if anyone would like to tell me where spring is at, or if you know where it is and you can go find it for all of us, I think that would be wonderful at this point, because it is downright cold and has not turned into spring yet by any means. But today, there's some updates since my last video that I showed you sort of the first look of the lawn and what things are looking like now a few weeks later. I thought I would give you some of those updates, show you some of those things, and leave a comment down below what your conditions are like. And if you're one of those lucky people down in the south who've actually been able to go outside and mow and all of that, then you can rub that in the comment section too. We won't feel bad for too long, but just don't make it too harsh. So first things first, it has been raining here a lot more than it did last year, so that's a change. We've had a drought for the past 2 seasons pretty much, and I'm not going to say that we're going to get to the summer this year and that rains will continue, because obviously I have no idea. But at this point, the spring, quote unquote spring, what I would call second winter, has at least had some moisture to it, which is good for us. More rain last night, looking at 34/100ths. So pretty consistent rainfall every couple days. You'll probably notice from these wide shots that everything is still consistently brown, but if you take a look back at the footage from the last video of the first update of the season, you will see that the greening has definitely started, and it's inching along, but just not as fast as I would like it to be. So in the last update for soil temp, I believe we were sitting around 39 degrees. So today sitting at 41. You can obviously see not much of a change there. And although it did get warmer, it has definitely come back down since temperatures have been really low in the 20s at night again. We got snow a couple days ago. That's all melted for the most part, but these soil temps have not come up much since all that cold weather is continuing. Remember that this greener spot over here was also something that was a few degrees warmer on last test, so I'll look at this. That's only showing a soil temp of 41.5. So why is it so much greener in this section? So when I was doing that last update over in that corner and we looked at the soil temp and noticed that it was greener, the thing that I thought that was happening the most was sun was coming off of Kelsey's garden shed over there. It warms up the soil more, and we did find that it was warmer. And definitely I'm sure that there's more light reflecting into this section off of that garden shed. There's no doubt about that. But you'll see today that the soil temp is not much different than the rest of the yard. So why is it so green? Well, when I was actually over there doing that initial video, I noticed that there were quite a few rabbit droppings and that the plants were actually eaten off almost down to the crown of the plant in a few of those spots. So traditional wisdom would tell you you don't need to scalp or cut off all that brown stuff down to the crowns on a cool season lawn, especially something like tall fescue. But what I found over here that's quite interesting this year is that all of those plants have started to grow out faster than any of these brown areas that I haven't put a mower on whatsoever. Am I telling you to go out there and scalp everything off to get it to green up? Probably not something that you need to do, but I did find over in this section, for some reason, you'll definitely notice that big blob of green, and all of those plants had been eaten off by those rabbits and now have grown up much faster than the rest of the brown surrounding yard by it. And to be honest, the same exact thing has happened over here. Remember that I put a reel mower on this a few weeks ago. Since then, like I said, it has snowed. It's been in the low 20s a couple nights, frost. All of those things traditionally would say this should brown out again and should be stressed out because I mowed it so early. But it's actually the greenest part of the yard by far. So is that really any sort of scientific test by any means? No, but I'm just using my eyes visually to tell you what I'm seeing, show you that on camera, and say that it at least has my mind thinking about a few things, and that maybe I don't need to worry so much about when is that first mow, is it going to get too cold after that. Definitely I know some of you in the south with fescue had some problems where you maybe did an early mow then got freezing temperatures. I'm not really sure why that did so much damage compared to what I'm seeing up here. Maybe our grass is more tolerant of that winter since we get such cold temperatures anyway. I have no idea, but what I do know is what I'm seeing right now. That's looking good. I made a short video this week in case you didn't see that, and it was sort of supposed to be a joke, but at the same time it was not really a joke because I did have these spots that were probably about that tall or so, and inconsistently all this other area was not that tall because these were some dog spots, as I mentioned before. Sometimes in the winter you'll get some spots where dogs have gone, and then that will start to grow pretty aggressively because of that extra shot of fertilizer. So that's what was happening. I legit had grass that was starting to get quite a bit taller than any of this area around it, and I thought, I probably should do something about that before this gets to 3 inches tall before my first mow. The rest of this is not growing. So I did come out here with my rotary scissors and I cut these down even with everything else. And a lot of people said, oh, you shouldn't be doing that, it's too stressful for the grass. Well, I don't see any damage, so I think it's totally fine. And also you'll see that the rest of the area around here still has a ways to go, but this is really nice and thick in those spots that I cut that. No damage of any kind that I see. So now I have a confession to make. I did get my mower out last night on this side section and I did a mow on there. And I've been waiting for the first mow video so I can do a first mow of everything all at the same time, but sometimes in years like this, there's just inconsistencies on how things are growing. And the front yard is just not ready for that mow yet. So the side yard was getting long in a few spots and I wanted to match everything up and just make it look decent. So confession, right now you didn't see that first mow, but believe me, I'll do a whole video like I always do, something fun for the first mow of the season. Stay tuned for that once everything is finally able to be mowed. This backyard looks like it has a ways to go yet. The front yard has some time to go yet. So just stay tuned for that, but just wanted to make sure that you understood this over here was mowed, just because you're gonna look at it and say, that looks a little bit fishy. But I really can't tell you how much I enjoyed that every single season. Those of you who have been doing this for a while, you know that first mow, everything looks even, nicely cut again, just a flat surface. There's nothing quite like that. So definitely, if you're getting close to that time frame, or if you already have, I'm sure you also enjoyed that, but I had a great mow last night on this section over here. Don't mind all of the dog stuff we need to clean up around here. Don't pay attention to that. But what I wanted to show you was the last time I did the first update of the season, I told you that most likely there was going to be some dog damage in this section because the dogs come off of here in the winter. They don't like to go out into the snow too much and they just want to stay right here. So everything was brown enough that I couldn't tell exactly where that damage was, but now you can see throughout here where this damage is. And is there any greening going to happen throughout this section? Hard to tell at this point because everything around it has not completely woken up for me to tell, but I know there will be some damage from this brown dead stuff that I'm seeing. So if you want to get a head start on figuring out what to do with this, I have a video from a few seasons ago that describes what I would do. This is not a grass that's going to fill itself back into large places like this, so you will have to intervene if you have some large spots like this after winter that are dead. So I will be fixing this and showing you that coming up. But right now, if you want to get a head start on that, go check out that other video and I will link that right here. So I walked outside the other day and I saw what every lawn person never wants to see, and that is a mold trail right through the front yard here. And I'm not sure if you can see through this section where it is, but definitely not a good situation. I've never had the moles ever come up into this part of the yard. I've had them in the backyard. They are an absolute pain, you know what, but I've never had them actually up here before. And so I put down the tunnel to see if it was active and if they were gonna come back through here. I'm not really sure. It hasn't moved like it was before. So I'm just gonna keep an eye on this, but obviously not a good situation going into the early season. I followed it all the way through here, came down through here. You can see small little tunnel came through here, followed this fence line, and then eventually it goes out into the garden. I've tried various types of traps before. This is one that's more of the plunging type. I've never really caught anything consistently. I do have one of the scissor traps, but I couldn't get it in near this fence to work as well as it should. If I see a trail out into an area, I will try that scissor trap. But for the most part right now, I've never had a consistent thing that's worked perfectly for me. I know a lot of you like those scissor traps and say that you catch them right away almost, but for me it's never happened. So I get that comment a lot, what should I do about moles? And to be honest with you, I have no idea because I am not the expert by any means on that. I have never been able to come up with a surefire way to get rid of them. A lot of people say those traps work. I've tried doing the smoke bombs, I've tried putting water down the tunnels, I've tried pretty much everything you can think of, but I'll just have to monitor the situation. So Kentucky bluegrass over on the north side of the house, just about the same as everywhere else. Of course, this gets the most shade currently and throughout the season on the north side of the house. So this typically is not going to grow extremely fast until we get warmer weather, but it is greening up nicely. and looks about consistent with the other sections of the real mode areas. So I am back out at the new place, also known, I guess, as Windy City, because it is just always windy. But I wanted to show you an update on what the plots look like. They're just starting to green up. Remember that I did one light fertilizer application and it has rained definitely more than an inch since that has happened. Slow out here because this is new grass, but at the same time, not terrible for how cold it is yet, and the soil temps that we saw back at the other place. Definitely, I'm sure it's about the exact same out here. So now back down to the shade test area, and as I'm noticing, anyone who's dealt with shade, I'm sure you already know this for sure, but so many tree limbs down constantly that the cleanup part is probably more annoying than anything else, and a lot more time to just get it cleaned up before you mow. This is the fine fescue shade testing that I am doing down here. It does have a small amount of ryegrass in it, very small amount of bluegrass as well, but so far this looks the best of anything out here. I said that last time on the update, but it's continuing to be true. Looks really good, protected from a lot of those harsh winds that I just talked about, and it likes that really cool weather, and it's getting that right now. So this is, I think, is going to be one of my favorite areas of the property eventually. I don't anticipate that it's going to be absolutely perfect by any means this season, because we all know how it goes when you have to be patient with your lawn and work on it over time, especially because of what this used to look like. I'll see if I can find a photo of the first time that we came down here. You're going to be pretty surprised in one season what this looks like.
That's nasty.
I wanted to give you that update though, for those of you who've been wondering about this. The seed is still on the ground that I put down. It's been getting plenty of water, but too cold right now to germinate, so we'll see what happens with that. So I have a very, very exciting announcement that's coming up. Here's a little small, tiny little teaser, and stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for watching today. We'll see you next time.